Okay, you guys, so today is my VLCD number 2, and after only 1 day of being on VLCD, I released 3.6 pounds. So that is awesome. I was really glad to see that. My first goal was to get back into the 160s, and I managed to do it in my first day, so that's awesome. And now my next goal is to make it back into the 150s by Saturday morning weigh-in. So keeping my fingers crossed, and we'll see what happens. Okay, so as I was going back into this third round, one thing that I constantly kept trying to refresh my memory on things, and I decided that it would be a really good time for me to kind of just refresh my memory on the protocol and the things that really worked for me. So I kind of went through my history and my notes and stuff from my first round, and I decided that I wanted to share those with you. For those of you that are either newbies or people like me that, we've done this before, but it's been so many months ago that it would be good for us to refresh. So the tips that I'm going to offer are based off of my research and my opinion, obviously. And also because my husband and I attended a weight loss institute through our whole protocol. And with that, we got to talk to doctors and physician's assistants about the protocol and the things that were working for the patients that they had. And so kind of compiled the highlights of what seemed to be the most important factors in the success for my first round. And so now I'm going to share them with you guys. So I made some notes over here, so if you guys see me glancing over here, that's why. So the first thing, number one thing that we learned right from the get-go was to avoid all diet products. For anything, whether it's your artificial sweeteners, equal, sweet and low, like in all reality, you guys, they're totally toxic to our systems. It's part of why, with all of the processed foods and artificial sweeteners and MSG and things like that, it's what destroyed our metabolisms to begin with. I mean, yes, our bad habits, but it's the fact that our society is completely steered away from natural, whole, good foods. And so our clinic told us to avoid those things because they were so bad for us. But also, here's a little factoid. Did you guys know that MSG there was lobbyists years ago that went and made it so that they can use like seven that I know of, 7 different names for MSG, so that they didn't have to put on the container that it contained MSG. Instead, it's, some other crazy long name that we would never know was actually MSG. And so, and if for those of you guys that don't know what MSG is, it's just bad for our systems. Basically, it causes your body to crave what you've just eaten that contained the MSG in it. And like for us, that's like my 16-year-old son always says, "Mom, I eat Chinese food and literally an hour later I'm hungry again." Well, it's because it contains the MSG. And so it's not just that we're hungry again, it's that our body is craving that. So anyhow, a little factoid out there that I found really interesting. When I discovered that, I was like, wow, here I thought I was doing good to avoid MSG, and come to find out a lot of the steak seasonings that we were purchasing contained MSG in it, but with the alternative name. So now we've gone to strictly natural, pure spices and herbs, nothing that's pre-mixed at the stores. So that's trick number 1. Then water. We all talk about water and how important it is. For us, we just kind of use our goal is to drink a gallon of water a day. But the scientific strategy behind it is actually for us to drink at least 1 ounce of water for every 2 pounds that we weigh. So basically, if you weigh 200 pounds, you need to have 100 ounces of water for the day, which makes it a lot easier for me. I couldn't understand why I had to drink as much as my husband did when he weighed more than me, but through my research, I found out that it's actually the 1 ounce for every 2 pounds that you weigh. So I shoot for the 1 pound, or for the 1 gallon, and the importance of getting that water in. The clinic that we went to told us that they were monitoring people's, they have us keep logs of what we eat and drink, and those people that actually were able to reach that goal on a daily basis of drinking that required water, every week they were losing 1 to 2 pounds more a week than the people that weren't consuming the water that they were supposed to. And so they told us, if you guys want to lose the weight faster, then drink the water. And believe me, if I can lose 2 more pounds a week drinking the water, then I'm going to do it. So I have, and that's, I think, partly why Oscar and I do so well. Another thing is a little word on meal preparation. There's been some discussion out there in the past, over the months and months now that I've been on here, about mixing veggies. And the original protocol says not to mix your vegetables. Oscar and I decided that that was ridiculous, and so we have always mixed our vegetables from day one, whether it was mixing a green salad. I mean, obviously you're going to have other things in it, but even down to cooking at nighttime. I love grilled onions, and Oscar loves to cook tomatoes, and he loves to fry the tomatoes in with anything that he cooks. So we end up adding things like onions and tomatoes and broccoli, which broccoli is another one that on some people's programs it says not to use it. Oscar and I did broccoli faithfully our first round, and he lost 72 pounds and I lost 40 in the first 40 days. So I don't think that if we would have cut broccoli out of our diet that we would have lost any more, honestly. And celery, things like that. Whether it's a stir fry, whether it's a green salad, we absolutely mix our veggies. And to be totally honest with you guys, we tend to go overboard a little bit compared to what the portion sizes were that we were told. We end up, they told us you could either have 2 big handfuls of green salad or basically the equivalent of 1 handful of another vegetable. When we do our green salads, we pretty much do 2 handfuls with all mixed vegetables. We don't reduce the amount of lettuce because we're adding in some other vegetables. It's practically water, so it helps to give us that little bit of filler. It's like no calories, so we do it, and it's worked for us. On our meat, we don't do 4 ounces of raw. We do 4 ounces of cooked, and we do that because we feel like most of the time we're eating chicken, and it's, you know, got practically no fat in it anyways, and we trim off all the fat and everything, and then we're cooking it in pan or just cooking it with nothing in the pan, and we end up having this you know, really healthy protein dish that we feel like it's protein. Protein's good for you. So we've always gone a little bit over on our protein allowance. And, you know, the people that we've talked to, that we've given that bit of advice to, they did the same thing, and they all had good results. So not that I'm telling you guys to go and eat bigger portions or anything. I'm just letting you know that it is something that we have done from day one. We've continued to do it. We're doing it. We will continue to do it this round. And it doesn't seem, it hasn't hurt us, and I actually think that it kind of helps. So that leads me into schedules for meal times. Now, for us, my schedule varies. One week I'm working nights, next week I'm working days. But I kind of did just a schedule. I don't know if you guys will be able to see this. Let's see. Oop, this way. Okay, so basically, of course, you have to vary this for whenever you get up. But for me right now, when I get up, I have my coffee or tea, or I just have water. We don't use, obviously I've already said, we don't use any of the artificial sweeteners. We tried some of the stevia products, and it just wasn't for us. It was such a nasty taste. I didn't like it. But then, so basically then by noon, I'd say 3 hours after I wake up, or 4 hours after I wake up, I have lunch. Then 2.5 hours later, I have my fruit snack. And we always have stuck with apples, and the reason for that is because we were told it's a natural diuretic. Apples help to curb your appetite, and it helps to keep the excess water out of your system. So we stick with apples. They're easy. You can add a little cinnamon to them to give it some variation, and they're yummy and they're simple. So then 3 hours later we do dinner, and then 3 hours later we do our last apple, and then we finish whatever water we didn't have for the day. Of course, it's better just to drink your water throughout the day so you're not up peeing all night long. But then basically for me, I'm in bed by midnight. The key to this, the most important thing, is see, I have 3.5 hours between the last time that I ate something and the time I go to bed. Don't ever eat anything less than 3 hours before you go to sleep. It's just, it ends up, your body can't metabolize it and digest it. And that's one thing that some people, I gave that advice to at the end of my first round, I think, and people didn't know that trick, and they started doing it, and before all of a sudden they were having bigger releases. So let's see. I think that was it on that. Just trying to make sure that I think that was it. So those are my tips for success that worked for me. I hope that anything, that you guys use, I hope it works as well for you guys. And I look forward to updating you guys tomorrow. Like I said, Saturday, I'm shooting for the 150s. We'll see how it goes, and I'm so happy to see that so many of my old HCG family members are out there still, and that ironically there's so many of you guys that are doing the VLCDs right in step with Oscar and I, so that is awesome. I love the camaraderie there. So you guys have a fantastic week. Do well, stay strong, and looking forward to following your guys' successes on here. Love you guys.